Hello everyone, I have some very important information for you all. Early voting is happening now through October 30th in Texas. So if you are a registered voter in the state of Texas, go and check out theharrisvotes.com at the link below to find out your early voting locations.
Hey voters, this is a friendly reminder for you. Make sure you bring a valid ID to the polls when you vote. Valid IDs include a Texas driver's license, a Texas personal ID, a U.S. citizenship passport, a U.S. citizenship certificate with photo, a U.S. military ID with photo, a Texas handgun license, and of course, a Texas election ID certificate. Remember, voting is your right and a privilege that a lot of people do not have. So please exercise your power and your right by voting.
Voting is power and your vote matters. Vote early.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, how are you doing?
Well, we only have a few days left. I know you haven't gotten much sleep. You told me
a long vlog.
You told me some amazing numbers when we last spoke. Could you tell us a little bit about what OCA has done in the last few weeks?
We have an amazing team, right? I have to say, all our volunteers, all the people who come out to help us. By Monday, before Election Day, we will have hit 200 and somewhere between 200 to 210,000 doors of distributing information. We have phone banked over 70,000 numbers. We've been doing census as well as GOTV, weekly videos, a lot of digital work that has had over, I was actually really like over 1.2 million impressions on social media. What was it? 270,000 like touches of content. I'm obviously not the social media person, so I have to really give props to our team for doing that. But our lit dropping team has been amazing. Like literally every day, 7 days a week since the end of August, we have been going out 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we don't finish till 8 o'clock at night. So yeah, we're all really looking forward to sleeping.
You know, every time I go to OCA office in Houston, you're never there, but I can see your team there putting together packages. It's critical. I mean, it is. People don't understand what OCA does. This is what OCA does. This is the behind the scene grassroots. This is work. It's nothing but.
Well, it is. We have had, I can't tell you, like mountains of boxes, right? I mean, for census alone, we had 2 garages, like double car parking garages filled to the rafters with stuff. And then our own office was so packed, we had to take the sofa and turn it upright, standing on its side to make room for all the boxes of paper and materials.
I saw it. Debbie, do you think I should translate some of this into Chinese for the few Chinese voters left that would go and vote? You think we should translate it?
Absolutely.
OK， 各位观众，我们翻译一下刚刚我们陈玉玲，我们 OCA 在这里的这个负责人。OCA 美华协会啊，很多人都问说平常做的是什么事情，这就是关键时刻所做的幕后的这些很辛苦的工作。OCA 在过去几个月之内已经发出去了21万份这个投票的资讯，挂到人家的门上，在大收视的地区21万份。打了7万通电话去催票，请他去投票。美华协会是不分党派的，我们是为亚裔的权利，所以不管你是支持哪一党，都希望去投票。除了这个投票以外，还有 census 就做这个问卷，然后在这个 social media 就是这个社群网络上，已经有120万的 impression， 就是有120万人看到这个广告跟讯息。120万人，还有27万个 impression。OCA 很多都是这个 volunteer 志愿者。OCA 不只是华裔第二代，是各个亚裔，甚至有不同的族裔都能参加，因为我们少数民族是一定要团结才是力量。Minorities have to unite together. Look, guys, It is hard. 我过去几天，我除了我自己去投票，我有带我的家人去投票，我带了我的妈妈去投票。我妈妈在美国30年第一次投票。I'm very proud. My mom voted. Yeah, I mean, she knows it's the time. As Asian Americans, our parents came from countries where they don't. Most of them don't have a say in who to vote. Just to achieve the American dream, we're supposed to shut up and go to medical school, go to law school, get my federal license and trade stock, and make money and buy a house, right? Get married, have kids, save their 401k. Yeah, that's great. A lot of us are doing that. But in the end, you're not contributing to your own rights. You're not doing anything for your parents or your children. And I'm not putting anyone down. You could go whoever you want to vote for, but at least go vote. Debbie, you know why I bring this up? Because when I took my mom to go vote, she brought up some of her friends. Some of her friends are people, we know them. It's very discouraging because they're educated. They were educated here in the U.S., whether they're from Taiwan or Hong Kong or China. They've lived here for so long. They speak fluent English. Their kids are our age. None of them voted. This is not just one family, multiple families. And I asked them why. I asked my mom why. They're like, well, they don't like a particular candidate. And they also dislike the other candidate. We're talking about presidential race. So how do you respond to that, Debbie?
Lesser of two evils, right? I mean, seriously, OCA is a nonpartisan organization. And the thing that I stress to people is it doesn't matter, to me personally, it doesn't matter, who you're voting for or which party, right? The most important thing for the Asian American community, especially the Chinese American community, is that we actually show up to vote. Because if we don't vote, right, there's never going to be a perfect candidate. That's just reality, okay? You take the lesser of two evils, but we have to show up to vote. Otherwise, no one is going to take us seriously as a community. And so the issues that impact us, when it comes to an issue that our community does care about or does impact us, and I'll just point out immigration, for example, right? Family-based immigration. Most of our people, the majority of our people, came here based on family-based immigration, meaning someone came here, maybe they came here as a graduate student, they stayed, they got a job, they got sponsored, they got their citizenship, and then they sponsored their brother or sister. Or they want to bring their parents here. So many of our people were able to be successful opening small businesses because they were able to bring their trusted relatives who they knew were going to work just as hard as they would to make it a success, to build the business, right? They're willing to work the long hours that, you just pay someone. They're not necessarily going to be as dedicated as somebody who has a stake in it, who's your family. Well, if we're not there to vote when it comes time to deciding immigration reform, family-based immigration has historically always been the first thing on the table that they want to cut out. And that was one of the issue areas that OCA was founded on. OCA was founded on civic engagement, making sure that we participate, we protect our rights, on immigration because immigration policy impacts our people, and on hate crimes because we're frequently targets of hate crimes or discrimination, and people just don't think about it. Wait, if we don't make our voice heard, then the policymakers, basically the politician, why are they going to think about you? Why are they going to remember you and remember your community and take action for the issues that are going to impact your people? It's because whether or not we voted them into office, if they don't think that we vote and we can't affect their job, why are they going to care? They're going to care about the people that they think of first. That's just a reality.
We can repeat this and keep pounding it, but guess what? Our kinfolk, Asians are like, oh, we're business people. We have to be at the store. Or, oh, it's not going to matter my vote because...
oh, no. Every vote matters. Every person who votes, right? There's a record of everyone who votes, right? It's not a police record. It's not a criminal record.
When you say record, Asians are going to be scared. Oh, my God.
Asking about that. Like, what do you mean it's going on my record? I'm like, it's on your voting record. Secretary of State tracks everyone who votes. And I can tell you, Chinese Americans, we are the largest Asian American group in this country. And because we vote, 倒数第二名, we're second to last place in terms of the people that turn out to vote. Chinese Americans, right? And because there's so many of us, we pull the entire Asian American vote down. But the flip side of that is if we were to go vote, we would pull the numbers up dramatically if Chinese Americans went out to vote consistently. I don't care who you go vote for. Just go vote. Show up and vote so that when issues come down, whether it is the Republican, whether it is the Democrat, whoever is the office holder for that district, they're going to think twice before they say no.
We've been doing this for a long.
Right? If we affect their rice bowl, there's a Chinese phrase my mom used to always say to me, right? 你不影响他的饭碗，他干嘛听你的？
You know, but Debbie, this is what's sad, right? People that are working in oil and gas, people that own business, or executives, or attorney friends, or doctor friends, they're already high income. They can say, oh, I got here. I did this because I studied hard. I got a high SAT score, and I worked on my own. I didn't have any help. So this is not affecting the rice bowl. This is, I don't want to pay taxes. I don't want to pay so much. And we're conservative anyway, and that's fine. You still have to go vote because the numbers are counted. Like you said,
there's going to be issues out there, right, that are going to impact you that you may not even think about, right? And I'll say this one with a business development perspective. A lot of businesses, okay, government contracting, supplier diversity contracting, right? You're a business owner. Do you want to get a piece of government contracting? Do you want to get a piece of contracting when major corporations are required to do the supplier diversity? And then people say, well, you know, those contracts are always going to go to everybody else. Why are we even going to be included in that? That is all about policy. Policies that get made are made by the people in power. So if you don't impact the people who are in power, then you don't have impact on the policies that get made. What about zoning laws? I'll tell you, everyone who thinks that they are, oh, I did it completely on my own, they just have no idea about history, okay? Chinese people, I'll just say Chinese people specifically. Chinese Americans, the entire immigration system was based on discrimination of Chinese Americans. The Chinese Exclusion Act, okay, was done to prevent us, right? People who came here and worked hard, and then they said, you know what, we only want you for your labor. We don't need you to actually stay here and, you know, and benefit from your labor, right? And we want to talk about railroad. If that's too far back, let me move it up a little bit. You know that there are some states who still have land laws. There are laws on the books, all right, that say if you're a Chinese American or you're Asian American, you cannot legally own land. You can't buy land. You can't buy a house. There are laws like this technically still on the books. They're just not following them right now, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they couldn't. Okay, we all like to think everything's fine, right? You know, 9/11 happened and everyone's up in an uproar. People were seriously afraid of, like, all right, are we going to just start rounding people up? You know, we may not have rounded people up, but we're definitely profiling people. You go back to World War II, and, you know, the Japanese Americans were actually rounded up and locked up in concentration camps, incarceration camps, whatever they want to call them.
Debbie, all this.
Everything is possible if you don't have people in power speaking for you.
Well, you know, for some of these Asians, they think that they're not immigrants anymore. So they've been here, so they think they're in power. They think this is going to happen to them. You're exactly right. With a lot of this rhetoric right now, divisiveness, it can happen. And I always remember the story you told me. OCA was part of a class action lawsuit that forced oil and gas companies to open up to minorities, 40 years ago? So all of you folks that are not voting, that are enjoying the benefits, the fruits of labors from our forefathers, from OCA, from our first generation Asian Americans that fought for the civil liberties, you're not able to enjoy this lifestyle. You're not able to work for oil and gas if we didn't fight for it. This is America. The squeaky wheel gets cleaned. You don't vote, you don't squeak, you are the migrant. You're the ones that during lunch, during recess, sit at the table on the side. You don't get the same.
One of our members that sued, but the EEOC, you know, wrote letters and literally was like, you can't do this. You know, many years ago, I'll say NASA, right? NASA was going to do layoffs, and the lists that came out were predominantly Asian names. And were it not for the fact that we wrote letters and went and asked, like, what is going on here? Why is the names on this list of the layoff list so disproportionately Asian? And it wasn't until they were, people are watching us, people are going to say
What
something.
was this? What year was it?
Oh gosh, I want to say this was in the 80s.
70s, late 70s, early 80s.
You have to ask like Jan.
But-
Jan knows.
But Debbie, do you know why that happens? Because we don't unite as voice. There's too many different kind of Asians. And also because we're supposed to just shut up and work. That's Asian mantra. Study hard, put your head down, don't make us fuss. It doesn't work like that anymore. It doesn't work like that. This is America. You want to be American, you think you're mainstream, you want to have any kind of say. Even if you don't want to have a say, you still have to do it for the people that need you.
And all the people who are quote unquote successful and say, well, I'm fine, I don't need it, or I did it all on my own, you did not. We are all benefiting from the work and the struggles of people who came before us, all right? We have the right to vote because people in the African American community, in the Jewish community, Asians, like there were people who came before us to, fight for that right. Fight for the right to be able to work, to be able to not be discriminated against, right? To fight for all these rights. So the right to, live in your nice house in a nice neighborhood in the suburbs. When Chinese were here originally, you know what the founding of Chinatowns were? It was basically the ghetto. It was the Chinese ghetto. Because we weren't allowed to live anywhere else, okay? We were forced to live in those places. San Francisco, Chinatown, New York, Chinatown. That's where you were allowed to live.
Hey,
you weren't allowed to buy land, but you were allowed to live there.
Debbie, the new immigrants that came the last 30 years, 40 years from Taiwan, Hong Kong, and China, they don't hear these stories. One of my mentors that you also know that I respect very much, Mitchell Liu. Mitchell Liu is a very successful investment advisor. You know who he is. He is born and raised here in Houston. Well, he was born in Mississippi, I believe. Is it Alabama or Mississippi? Either way, there's a group of Asian Americans that are second or third generation Taishan. The stories he tells me, I couldn't believe this is just last generation.
Look,
40 years ago, when he graduated from college, his colleagues graduated from Rice, from Harvard, from Yale, chemical engineers, and very, very educated and smart people. Guess what? They can work for a corporation. They cannot be an engineer. They end up opening grocery stores or laundromats. Why? Because no one forced them to open up. This is the reality of life.
No one would hire them. Okay.
Whether they're qualified or not doesn't matter.
Right? Houston Police Department, all right, until Martha Wong became council member and, stood up for us and said, hey, what is your hiring practice here? Do you know that there was an informal quota in the Houston Police Department that they only allowed you to hire, to have like, one or two Asians go into the training academy, okay, to become a police officer. The people who are there to maintain public security and safety for us, right? It's just like right now, we have the Southwest Management. Why is Asiatown, why is Chinatown split amongst multiple different districts? Okay, at the state level, it's split between, two districts, right? At the congressional level, it's, split amongst like literally 3 or 4 for police and security. It's split literally amongst 4. And then in the terms of the management districts, you're split into 2. And Southwest Management District covers a large part of it, right? And the Southwest Management District is the one who's actually out there trying to make sure and coordinate to say, hey, we need to make sure that there's public safety and security. And now you have some, rich person who is, running on a campaign, literally running on a campaign to get rid of the Southwest Management District that exists in large part to make this area safe and secure and good for business. And you have somebody who's trying to dismantle it. Okay, let's bring on that platform to dismantle it. And so I'd say, if you as an Asian American or as a Chinese American don't go vote, then people like that will be like, okay, see, it's fine. I can run on whatever platform I want because they're not going to say anything.
Debbie, don't bring this kind of things up. I'm already so worked up. I already lost business, lost friends over this. You know what? You bring us out.
It's unfortunate because it's like, look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? As far as I'm concerned, I just want people to go and vote to show that Asian Americans care, whichever, because frankly, we need people on both sides. We need people who are in both parties, okay? And we have people in both parties, but we also have a large number of people who haven't been convinced to be a part of either party.
Look, that's great. That's great. You have to say that, okay? I don't have to say that, okay? Let's be frank. There's one party, when you look at the ballot, when you look at the sample ballots for Fort Bend County areas, there's one party that has all women and minority out of the 50, 60 positions. There's one party that is straight male of a certain race. So let's be frank. Do you remember Judge Teresa Chen? I will never forget. She ran on she's always been a particular party because at that time and age, 20 years ago, you could only win if you're on that party. She did a great job. Okay, she's great. And
Judge Chen is a wonderful judge, right? She represented.
Hold on. This is ridiculous. You will never forget. She's Asian American. Why did they run the candidate against her in the primary? It's a disgrace. And then she lost. And the opposition is she's done nothing. Young lawyer. And then you want to talk about Southwest Management District? That makes me mad. This candidate you're talking about, he's not some rich person. He's somebody that took advantage of the system, got loans from the federal government, and bought distressed properties. 中文叫做投机的炒房地产的. This dude,
I don't know.
He lives in Colorado. And then you know what he said when we interviewed him for endorsement for the candidate for that district? You know what he says? How out of touch he is? You people, a group of Asian Americans, interviewing him about what he knows about Asian community. You people should vote for me. I own a lot of properties with you people. You people live in my properties. He owns properties in the hood. All right? He said that. I heard it. Okay?
I don't even understand how somebody who lives in Colorado is running for a position here in Texas.
Well, he's rich now because he used more money, bought a bunch of the apartments, rented out to low-income people, took advantage of it. He comes in here and wants to dismantle Southwest Management District. That is ridiculous. And then, he tells us, oh, we have signatures from Asian business owners to support me. This is what surprised me. What is
they probably didn't know what they were signing. Is all
even if they do, it's possible they could buy into that because you always complain about the people that are in power now, that's in charge now. You complain about Southwest Management all you want, but they're actually run by Asian Americans that have business in Chinatown. All of us enjoy Chinatown, go eat and play, but we're like you said, Chinatown is divided.
Southwest Management District has done a great job in this area, maintaining,
exactly. They have,
and making sure that this area is clean and safe and good for business.
They have been doing that for a long time, and you can always reach them. They always respond. They've always been part of the community because they are our community. So for this guy to come in and say that,
we digress, right? This goes back to the importance of why everyone needs to go vote. If you think that, I don't like whatever candidate, they're not perfect, and the other candidate, I feel lesser of two evils. Let's be practical about things, okay? Pragmatic. That's the one thing I will say about Chinese Americans. Chinese are a very, very practical race. Okay? I'm generally stereotyping our people, but I like to think that we're pragmatists. So as a pragmatist, right, go vote so that people think we actually matter. Because if we don't go vote, then anything that we do care about at some point will get ignored, or you open the door for it to be ignored, right? It's just like the census, everybody needed to fill that out so that we could get back the money that we actually paid in taxes to come back to our neighborhoods. Now, it's about voting to make sure that the people who are there representing us take the issues that impact our communities and our people into as a concern.
Debbie,
I'm not going to be a perfect candidate. That's there is no perfect candidate. So you always are pretty much be practical. Pick the lesser of two evils. Who you think is going to be better for your people or your community or whatever issue you care about. You may not agree with them on everything else, but there's got to be something you agree with. Vote for who you agree with, for the things that are the majority of what you agree with. Because everything else, frankly, it's one person. They have to go into Congress. They have to work with people, right? No one person sets everything for everything. They still have to be able to work with everyone else. But please vote. Make sure that we are heard. I mean, seriously, if we don't vote, then no one is going to take our community seriously.
Listen, this is you're doing exactly what I do on multiple platforms, and people lose interest because we're so adamant about voting, and people will say they'll say the same thing like, none of my business, or you guys are just, this is we're volunteering our time. This doesn't benefit us individually. It benefits our community. That's why we're doing this. And then what are you going to tell the few undecided voters left? You know, you sent me an article not that long ago. Asian Americans will decide this race in Texas.
Quite possibly.
Because we're the last group that is technically, like you said, practical or conservative values or whatnot. What the last groups left?
More importantly, the majority are undecided. They're independent, right? And so what that means is both parties should, perk up their ears and reach out to our community to say, hey, this is what we stand for. You should come and join us. Why wouldn't we want to be the group of people that gets courted?
I think we need to talk to our friends and neighbors and people that have not voted. Call them, guys. Call them.
Call them.
Their emotions. We don't vote with our logical side. We don't vote deciding, go out there and appeal to them. Please ask them to vote. Debbie, you have some really interesting numbers. Could you show our people what you have?
So today is a special day. Today and tomorrow are the last 2 days of early voting. And today, when we early vote, it's 24 hours at 8 locations around the city, right? And so the nearest one to Chinatown is the Tracy G Community Center. Okay, it is literally going to be open 24 hours today. And then tomorrow, the time has been extended to 10 o'clock for early voting. So you could go to, till 10 o'clock to early vote. But once the polls close on, 10 o'clock tomorrow, then you're going to have to wait till Tuesday, November 3rd.
Please don't wait till Tuesday, guys. Don't wait till the last day. It could be, you would be busy. Don't wait till the last day, please. Go out there and vote, because you can vote anywhere in Harris County up till tomorrow, Friday. And I really need you guys to go to Tracy G. Tonight at 9 p.m. at Tracy G, Asian Americans will be there to support and cheer you on. I know Jean Wu will be out there. Right, Debbie? You going to be out there?
I will.
Okay. So if you guys want to vote with the group environment, go out there. You'll see.
First time they've ever done a 24-hour voting site.
No. You know, I'm going to tell you how amazing that is to me. Let me tell you, because I live in Fort Bend now. You see the difference, okay? I'm not going to say which party, but in Harris County, because of COVID, you could drive through and vote. You can mail in your ballot, even if you're not old or sick. You could, you have different languages. This particular party, this particular group wants you to go out and vote. They want to make it easy for you to vote. However, in some other parts, like say in Fort Bend, they don't want you to vote. They want to make it as difficult as possible. There is no Chinese or Vietnamese or other languages translated. They don't have people on site to help you. They don't let you drive through. They don't let you have a mail-in ballot. None of that. There's no 24-hour ballot. Why? They know that if you turn out and vote, new voters, immigrants, Asian Americans, that they're going to lose their grip hold on power. They know that. They don't want you to go out and vote. The more they don't want you to vote, you have to go out and do it. I hope I can see everyone out there tonight at 9 p.m. in Tracy G Center. I voted there when I was in Harris County. It is close to Chinatown. It's at 3599 West Center Drive. Go out there and support our people. Today at 9, it's going to be fun. It will be fun. It will be safe. Wear your mask. We'll see you out there at 9 p.m. Debbie, do you have any more information that we could share right now? Because we really are running out of time.
No, only just, statistics, right? We are the fastest growing group in America. We're the fastest growing group, here in Texas. And the numbers of our population have been increasing So that means we have a real opportunity to impact, policy going forward if our people turn out.
Call your people, guys. Call them. See them. I offer my friends and family, I'll buy them lunch or dinner. Let me drive you to go. I really did. I have so many friends, especially people that has done well. They're in the highest income bracket. Hotel owners, multiple restaurants, high-level executive. No. They already made their money. They're like, oh, no matter. It's true. In your mind, it's whoever, because you have money. So whoever wins, they'll listen to you. It doesn't quite work that way, guys.
Nope,
it really doesn't work that way. You'll see, because by then it'll be too late. When they come, we're not trying to scare anyone, but by the time they come for you, it will be too late if you don't do it now. So Debbie, I really appreciate it. I hope you get some sleep after this. I know you've been working like a machine nonstop. I know that. So get some rest.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, no, I want to share this out. We don't have a lot of time, and we'll see. I'll see you again next week. Hopefully, we'll be celebrating the next Tuesday.
Well, I'm going to be celebrating. I get to sleep again.
Take care, Debbie. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.嗨，大家，想让您知道说很重要的消息，这个礼拜是我们的在德州提早投票的时间。那现在提早投票呢，只剩下3天了，就是星期三、星期四、星期五。星期五、星期四、星期三这几天呢，是早上7点钟到晚上10点钟可以投票。然后星期四呢，有一个特别的，就是24小时，在10月29号星期四可以24小时投票。那在我们中国城这个附近呢，最靠近的地方，它整全 city Houston 是只有8个地方是可以24小时投票。靠近中国城这边就是 Tracy G Community Center， 在3599 West Center Drive， 3599 West Center Drive。如果说你不是靠近这边的话，其实你可以到任何的地方，在 Houston、Harris County 什么地方都可以去投票。那就是去 harrisvotes.com harrisvotes.com 去这个网站可以去查你的投票的地点。我们在美国可以投票是一个非常辛苦去争取的一个权利，所以我们非常非常鼓励大家要去投票。你只要在德州有登记投票，鼓励大家提早去投票，不要拖，替我们争取我们华人在美国的权利。谢谢。